That's what you I will put on YouTube, and chaotic YouTube videos are usually most liked.
We'll monetize it. It'll be great.
Yeah, exactly. We monetize it. We need another cake.
Oh, yeah.
All right. It's like if this cake can bring another cake, but if it can bring one cake and a half.
If you teach a man to cake.
Yeah. Okay. Best papers of the year. Let's go, Armina.
Okay, so this paper, titled Music Can Be Reconstructed from Human Auditory Cortex Activity Using Nonlinear Decoding Models, uses a regression-based decoding model to reconstruct a classic rock song by Pink Floyd, Another Brick Hit the Wall, Part 1.
Hey, Sergey, I don't know if you wanted to, but you didn't share the slide.
Oh, it was sharing of the slide part. Yeah, I did not share the slide. Thanks, William. Screen share.
Yeah.
Let me do that again. Hide something. Armina?
Yeah.
Another break in the wall, part 2, part 1.
Part 1. So it just takes neural activity from, I think, 29 neurosurgical patients, and then is able to recreate the song based on most of the song, based on the neural activity that happens.
Doesn't it sound like the Matrix to you? Like you put people into the hospital, put
Music,
and like
and then you take
make
it
them
out.
create music and then sell it online on streaming platforms.
But apparently this is a great step in the
Mind reading.
mind reading and reconstruction of music as opposed to speech from neural activity.
Well, speech is more probably. I don't know what's more salient to humans, speech or music. What do we?
I feel like the difference is that this is like a waveform, or like it's like whereas like speech is usually like context based now. At least no, like the one paper that I've read about like how like you think about something, you think about saying something, and it exports to like the text copy. They do that like usually by text, not by like these waveforms and like audio forms.
Oh, okay, okay.
Speech is more complicated because when you're thinking and talking, you're using multiple parts of the brain. Whereas like if you're just passively listening to music, it's only one part, so it's easier for them to do this.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, I have a comment as well because like passively, but the signal in the brain, especially electrical signal, just purely reflects the sound. It's just like we don't control it, it's right there, and we measure that with EEG with frequencies.
Yeah.
You play a frequency and you collect the frequency right from the brain, so it's without even thinking, so it's kind of cheating. Sorry, but it's still cool, and especially if you enjoy the wall and that
Breaks and
what can go wrong. Okay, so Brad is not here, as I understand. Exact learning dynamics of deep linear networks with prior knowledge. I don't know if we went over that paper. I'm not too familiar with this paper, but it's basically it is related to the work that he's doing, and Andrew Sachs, of course. That's as much as I can present.
I think we have a winner. Something.
The shortest presentation, so it has to be one. Okay, Capella, can you do it 1 minute speed run?
Yeah, so this is detecting abnormalities in resting state dynamics and unsupervised learning approach, which is not actually from this year, don't worry about it. It is another sort of attempt to solve the like data is scarce problem with unsupervised learning. It uses an encoder decoder framework with convolus TM cells in a sort of UNet-like architecture, but it proposes a recurrent UNet style architecture, and in general, and they worked on like next frame prediction and an autoencoder. And you can see obviously like if they give it more frames of time, it will perform better, but it does also generally in their using reconstruction error to attempt to predict diagnosis and using it to predict the next frame. It does their recurrent UNet and autoencoder do perform generally better than the like non-recurrent UNet that they were comparing to. And that's all.
Thank you. Yeah, when you started, I thought you were on 1.5x, and yeah, that was very good.
Trying to get it in the minute.
Okay, Isabel too.
Recovering from a moderate or severe traumatic brain injury can take a long time, and many people cannot fully recover from it. So they can experience cognitive dysfunction and other symptoms that cause some difficulties with daily life. And this research study performed to test the safety and effectiveness of thalamic brain stimulation on the patient. The electrodes were implanted into the brain at the thalamus, and the thalamus is at the center of the brain. It involved in attention, decision making, and working memory. So it talked to affect the TBI, the moderate and to severe TBI. It talked to affect the neural circuits in the thalamus. And after 3 months of treatment, the patient significantly improved from the baseline.
Yeah, that's interesting. So is it done with the patients who agreed on that surgery, or they already were having surgery and they kind of used it? With the music, the first I thought those people are epileptic patients. They have the skull open for a different reason than Pink Floyd. And here I wonder if they drilled the holes and implanted electrodes to treat TBI, or there were some other procedures performed and they also tried to treat TBI.
The patient to involve in this research because therapies and medication and some medications didn't work.
Yeah, so they were specifically done for this. Thank you. Okay, John.
Okay, so I thought this paper was interesting because I feel like in a way it's like a really searing burn to transformers. Because a lot of transformers are used for this like stock market prediction stuff and other like long-term predicting of time series data. But these guys basically took like a lot of this time series data and shuffled it and wanted to see how it affected the accuracy on transformers versus just one layer linear models. Like I had a few different kinds that they tried this on. And basically shuffling the data and using a transformer on it really didn't impact the accuracy that much, which is kind of showing that the transformers don't really preserve time series information that well. Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. And so like a lot of the benchmarks that are used, like state-of-the-art tools for this task, they were blown out of the water with this experiment that they put together. So pretty much, yeah, that's the interesting thing. And they also tried some different stuff with like the positional encodings on the transformers.
Did it help?
So they tried they tried taking away the positional encodings and then putting it into like doing experiments without them, and it didn't really make that big of a difference. Which is kind of saying they don't transformers don't really preserve long-term time series information well. Also too, like I think a big reason why is like it's autoregressive, the autoregressive thing in the transformer decoder also harms, like it causes an accumulation in error over time. So yeah.
No, this is very interesting paper. I think it deserves some recognition, but there is a line of research that people are saying that those deep learning models don't deal well with the long time series, that classical econometrics models are much better for forecasting, at least. I keep hearing that there's a guy who specifically posts on LinkedIn just about that almost every day. And yeah. So that's. Mahfouz.
Okay, so thank you. It was really very hard to pick the best papers. I actually tried to look papers from different venues, and it was really hard to come up with a decision. But I had to pick something quickly, so I chose this one because this one is interesting in the sense that for the last decade, people are trying to explain this deep learning model, machine learning model, and people have already come up with different approaches, different explanation approaches. And most people are readily using them and trying to just create a narrative and then publish. But the real value of this kind of explanation is still arguable. So people recently are trying to investigate some evaluation metrics of these explanations. So we already have several evaluation metrics at hand and that we can readily use. But very recently, these authors have questioned the validity of these evaluation metrics. Even the evaluation metrics are not reliable. That is what they're trying to show here. For example, they are showing here two evaluation metrics in this example. One is called FC, faithfulness correlation, and another one is pixel flipping. And they are trying to evaluate three kind of explanation: gradient, and what else? Gradient, integrated gradients, and I think smooth grad. But what they are showing here, based on two evaluation metrics, the ranks of these explanation methods are different. So that is the question. So they are trying to propose a meta-evaluation approach that will evaluate the evaluation metrics based on some criteria. And if an evaluation approach satisfies their meta-evaluation conditions, then that means that evaluation metric will satisfy the ranking issues of the explanation methods. That's the main idea of this work.
Yeah, sounds very interesting, but also sounds like epicycles. So now we need to evaluate evaluation of evaluation.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's kind of circularly.
Yeah, but interesting. Okay, thanks. Mateo.
Oh, yeah, here we go. So, this is my thought process, guys. This is my thought process here. A, I didn't want to read another paper. B, and more importantly, guys, let's really think about this. What matters when it comes to machine learning? I personally think it's the ability to experiment, the ability to play around with what you have made. And what better example do we have than Voyager? The majesty that you can create. You can create societies out of Voyager LLM.
I remember the communism
No,
slide.
you remember the comments. That's exactly what I'm referring to. See, we can test entire methodologies, ideologies, philosophies using Voyager. It is a beautiful thing. You guys didn't look into it. It basically plays Minecraft and it learns what it was doing, creates a skill library and builds off of what it remembered to do previously, and is able to move further and further up the tech tree. The goal of this model was to get the most items and explore the largest radius, and it does both those things comparatively to things like ChatGPT-4. And just man, is it a beauty?
Best paper ever. That's not just 2023.
Oh yeah. There is not a paper that can theoretically condense this. This is one. Everything else is a decimal.
Well, and it also generated the Shoggoth Award. Like somehow Mike has gotten it for his abilities to pretend he's human.
Yeah, thank you. That was my presentation. I hope you enjoyed it.
Thanks. No, great paper.
Okay, I chose the normie paper of the year, Sparks of Artificial General Intelligence, released by Microsoft Research. It's definitely not the best paper within the year. It's not rigorous. It's not exactly
But it is pop culture.
It's pop culture, but it's also the kind of paper I imagine we would write if we ever came across aliens. Like instead of actually doing any kind of like, oh, what's the metrics? We just throw stuff at it and then it gives us a unicorn. It gives us these drawings. It can do like all these new things, like interact with Adobe tools with just text instead of actually having to do anything. It's definitely not the best written paper ever, but in terms of like actual impact, I think this one was like the paper of the year. Yeah.
How many citations does it have by now? 2023 or 22,023? Did know? Did you check on that?
I did not check.
Yeah, okay. Good. Thanks. Good choice. Mina?
So I based this paper when I was trying to improve the reliability of my pseudo labels. And the goal of the semi-supervised domain adaptation was to adjust a model to the target domain using the limited number of labels from the target data. In other words, semi-supervised domain adaptation is fine-tuning a model for the target domain using limited labels from the target data. Although semi-supervised domain adaptation makes the adaptation process more practical by allowing additional labels, it faces some challenges, practically intra-domain discrepancies introduced by extra label target samples. Their method introduces sample-to-sample self-distillation, leveraging sample-to-sample relationships. They address both inter and intra-domain discrepancies throughout two assistant features, which are generated by transferring intermediate styles between the teacher and the student. And the process involves alternating between two key points: student step generation and training. In the training step, they focus on sample pairing, assistant generation, and self-distillation, each contributing to the overall adaptation process. And the reliable student set generation step uses solo labels and reliability evaluation, and they assign solo labels to unlabeled target samples and filter out reliable samples based on specific conditions. Yeah, this ensures the model to focus on competent samples during the term.
Great, thanks. We're continuing our speed run through the papers of the year. Mohammed.
Yes, so these people actually come not last year, but I think by the end of 2022, that come from the people of samples. I guess I can meet some of these authors who have some classes for games. They actually bring the spatial crossover for human brain. I didn't see a lot of people doing that actually. Maybe this one the first come to that domain. They have like another technology, it's multiplexing technology that can actually get a simultaneity in multiple antibodies from the brain sample, and then they work and doing that actually for multiple patients with different type of Alzheimer and also in different region in the hippocampus. The result that they get after that actually showing that for the neuron or the non-immune glia or the microglia, there is distribution, different distribution and different actually level of tau and packed protein there. For example, they found that the microglia in this case actually for the people who have Alzheimer or advanced level of Alzheimer, actually there is a special tau microglia. They have found high concentration in some region in the hippocampus. Also, they found that microcondalia actually the protein also have high level of resistance, which give indication that this can be like a survivor rate for this type of neurons. I believe actually this is interesting come also maybe with our last report about the history. So maybe we can at some point get the data from them. I believe that can be
Okay, great. Next, Rinal. Let me show you to people. I know the aliens keep you locked in this aluminum container, but maybe you can
Yeah, that's Renal.
Can you start talking and then it will switch to.
Yeah, no, I was actually really confused as well, like which paper I should be putting, because there's so many amazing papers which came this year. And to be very honest, I was about to put more than 4 papers in this slide, because in every domain I had so many interesting papers in my mind. But I did not want to go through LLMs and all those things, because that's like I'm done with it. So uh, so this paper, the segment anything paper is actually really interesting because of the main reason. As soon as this was released, it actually shook the whole industry, because most of the people, they were struggling mainly with the task of segmenting any image, and they were trying to create a better mask for their annotation purposes. And one of the best thing which I found about this paper is not just the paper information, like the information inside the paper, but also the demo that they have inside their the Facebook demo page that they have. Where if you have an image, it will actually disintegrate it into a mask, and then it will show it to you. So yeah, according to me, this is actually something which is which can definitely improve. It's not like the best paper, but yeah, definitely improve. And something that is like I find like the best foundational model for this year, other than LLMs.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Thank you. Thanks for picking it. That's also in the zeitgeist, right? Where like the paper that Mike selected. Thanks.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah, all right. So I recently developed an interest in the training optimization part of machine learning. And in this context, this paper presents an alternative to backpropagation. The authors of the paper do not care much about speeding up backpropagation, but they care about making an update algorithm which is biologically plausible. And this algorithm calls FFF is biologically plausible, and it is falling only slightly behind the backpropagation.
oh, okay, you're done. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. And the paper, and you're interested in it. But let's move on, because we're doing speed run. We'll talk about it if your paper wins the competition, or if it already won. We know the results, I guess. Did I?
No, you skip.
Oh, yes, yeah.
So this paper was a sparse mixture of experts from Urdu-defined, and basically they tried to build up on their previous mixture of expert with large-scale models that they previously published 2 years ago, and 2021, I think. And basically, like, the rumors was that they were using that for the power models and also the GPT. So I think they might be using this for the Gemini as well, but don't know that for sure. But anyway, it seemed like a very important contributions from them this year. Basically, this is just using a large number of feedforward layers as separate experts and training them, ensuring that they can be like multimodal in different ways. But for this particular paper, they focus on VITs, and they train each experts to like focus on different aspects of the incoming images, and propose a routing mechanism that kind of mixes token instead of previously just like directly routing each token to each expert. They kind of route certain linear combinations of each token, and teach the router through back propagation to do that. Yeah.
Great. Yes, is done, Sajjad.
So this paper is about a subject that I'm interested in very much, which is like teaching or learning model to be robust to domain shift. So they were saying that, for example, here X and Y seem to be uncorrelated. If you feed them to pass them through some nonlinear function, they appear to be linear. So for example, if you want to be domain invariant, you have to get rid of these dependencies and correlation. And so they used results from that old paper from 1980 that said that if you can find a set of fx's such that you can get in conditional independency, you can get rid of that. Then in this paper, they found out that they don't actually need to do all the functions. So that earlier result was for all the functions. So they found this set of kernel functions here that they call CRCE. And they found that if they can regularize for that function, that can achieve the same independency, and that's how they defined it. They added a regularization term to their teaching, to their learning formula, and they shown that this can help with domain shift.
Is it related to Hilbert-Schmidt information criteria, like the trace and the matrix product? Do they mention HS? Yeah, whatever, Hilbert HS, I see.
Probably I need to look further into it.
Right, yeah, interesting.
But I just saw the oral presentation of it. I was interested.
Oh, that's me. So I found this paper interesting for a few reasons. It has all of the buzzwords, of course, the interpretability and grokking and everything. Like it studies the phenomena of neural networks of suddenly or eventually with continuous training, shifting the mode from zero training error, large test error, to suddenly getting all of the test examples, low test error after continuous training, even though the train error was already zero and apparently nothing could have changed. But the way they study, this is a known behavior, it doesn't come from those people, from the authors. What they study instead is if we look at the neural network as a circuit. It's one of my claims is that neural networks are not black box, they're white box, because we see everything, how information flows, and like every number, every weight. So they're trying to look at the neural network just like that, as a circuit, white box, but they're trying to figure out what that circuit is doing after the weights are put together. And they were training a model. As you understand, this is a very tedious way to approach understanding of neural networks, and so they start with toy examples. Toy example was addition, modular addition, I think. Add numbers modular 3 or modular 10 or something like that. And they demonstrated that when the grokking happens, like first neural network memorizes some number, some rules for or some examples, and then it memorizes the test set of additions. So the train, memorizes the train, the test set is terrible. But then at some point, after continuous training, neural network starts to realize that it can do Fourier transform because the addition is on a cycle. The neural network, they demonstrated by digging into the details that neural network learns to do Fourier transform, to add the numbers on the circle to account for the modular addition. And after that, of course, it learned general mechanism of addition, so it generalizes. That's an interesting way to address interpretability. That's very mechanistic, pun intended. And at the same time, my hope is maybe there is a way to automate this approach instead of, this is like taking a GDB and hex editor in debugging, reverse engineering somebody's code.
Mm.
This is exactly like going back to the ZX80 days and, cracking old games protection and like selling them on the black market. But they're doing the same stuff, and we learned a lot of reverse engineering by when reverse engineering CPUs and software. So why can't we apply this to neural networks? I found this fascinating in its kind of raw sheer power approach. It's like very computationally intensive for our brains, but we can do it. We do it all the time with this solution. So that was my favorite. Two. That's a cheat to get the cake. Insert as many papers and people will hold this is for a while of them.
Yeah, no,
Does octopus have brain?
yeah,
I thought it's distributed.
yeah,
Okay, go ahead, sorry.
yeah, in this research study, they observe the brain activity of the octopus. It's because the octopus, they doesn't, the octopuses do not have brain, a bond, no, a brain, but they don't have bond. And they have too many arms and they can pull everything. Yeah. So we cannot tell them not to pull the electrode out of the head. So the researcher insert the portable data locker under the skin, and the electrodes were implanted onto the brain surface. And then the activity, normal activity, were recorded in 12 hours.
Did they make any conclusions? Did they find anything interesting, unusual that they didn't expect to find?
And they were expected to find in the future.
Oh, future, okay, so first measure and then we'll analyze that. One cool thing about octopi is that there is a guess, especially about humans, that we developed our brains because of social structure, that we're very social and we needed the brains to interact. They are super smart animals that are solitary.
Mhm.
Maybe each limb is arguing with each other, and that's how they get smart to cheat on, like to argue. But I don't know. They're solitary and they're quite smart. They escape from the zoos all the time.
It's an ensemble.
Yeah, ensemble. Yeah. Oops. Okay, say it.
First, let me ask you a question.
Oh.
Yeah, do you know the movie Transcendence with Johnny Depp?
Yes.
That's a movie when Johnny Depp was a professor, probably in machine learning and learning. He died, and he uploaded his consciousness into the machine. And after that, he continued his studies, and he created probably clones from people, and the parts of their bodies were nanorobots. Who were able to replace the parts of their bodies. So these creatures were very cool in regeneration. So this paper is almost about this stuff. It's
almost work.
So I think it's so in this groundbreaking study reported in Advanced Science, researchers have developed anthrobots. These are organoids made from tracheal cells with cilia, and each of them can autonomously move and interact with human tissue.
I think, sorry for interruption, I think this will be anthrobots, like to sound like anthropods. No? I'm not sure, but what would they?
Probably. So these anthropods, they were created by Michael Levin's team at Tufts University. his student, Gizem Gumskaya, the first author. So she placed tracheal cells in 3D tissue of rat, and so in this 3D rat tissue scaffold, and they formed unique organoids of various shapes and sizes. And in this paper, they did some kind of clusterization of different types of anthropods that were created. And the most interesting thing about these anthropods is that when they worked with wounded neurons in a lab, these anthropods facilitating nerve tissue regeneration. But so probably it's a huge step in a regeneration medicine. I hope so.
Great. Yaron, do you want to quickly talk about your paper? Oh, but Yaron didn't connect. Okay. Zafar, that's yours.
Yeah, so what they do here is they create a data set comprising of questions, like 40,000 questions, to compare how ChatGPT responses or how human experts respond to certain questions, right? So the major differences that they found is that ChatGPT's response are generally strictly focused on the given question, whereas humans often shift to other topics. And the second observation was ChatGPT provides objective answers, whereas we as humans tend to be more subjective. Third thing is ChatGPT answers are typically formal, whereas humans are more colloquial. And the fourth observation was ChatGPT expresses less emotion in its response, while we use, for example, mark of exclamations to express our emotions to answer a question. And one interesting thing was that, ChatGPT refuses to answer the question out of knowledge, but we humans try to answer every question, even if we don't have knowledge about it. So I feel like with AI bots like ChatGPT, Grok, this question is going to be asked a lot, like how a human expert is different from ChatGPT.
Yeah, that's interesting. Gotta move on a little bit because we have another presentation and a cake. Also. William?
Okay, so basically, this paper is from one of Bronstein's co-authors, and it's about how oversquashing can be improved with changes in graph connectivity. And the reason that's an important problem is that, like, basically graph neural networks, whenever you have a problem that's structured as a graph and you're trying to do node classification, the deeper the graph neural network, the more you're squashing distant nodes information into a single node. And there's a lot of information loss there, and that's called oversquashing. And you have to exponentially increase the hidden state in proportion to depth in order to avoid or shift this problem, which becomes memory inefficient. But this paper basically shows that if you have a graph and then you change its connectivity, in the top right figure, you can see the base graph, the spatially rewired graph, and the spectrally rewired graph. And basically the transit time of a message to get from one node to another reduces. So, and this is also a way to mitigate oversquashing. So there's like there's like a trade-off between fast transit times and oversquashing. Like a fully connected graph has the fastest transit times, but then you have if you have any depth in your graph neural network, you get like information from the whole graph. So basically you need some sort of trade-off in the connectivity of the underlying graph that you're operating on to match your problem domain to efficiently avoid this problem. And this affects my problem or that I'm working on, and any graph problem that any of y'all will work on in the future. The figure on the left basically shows that graph neural networks, as you increase the depth, eventually get to a point where they can't handle the information over squashing phenomenon, and they collapse into random guessing, which is the white dotted line. The other lines are the different complex tasks that are standard graph problems, and the different squares are different types of graph neural networks. The GCN suffers from over squashing the most, I think, because it, in some respects, because it's summing a lot of neighbors into one, whereas like graph attention and other methods selectively aggregate information from nodes. But still, it's a problem that you could probably dodge significantly just with better rewiring of your graph connectivity. And that's about it.
Thank you, William. And I think that was our last paper. And now, oh no,
There's two more.
two more. How are you? Okay, try to.
Can I refresh first?
Yeah, but please, we are running out of time, and I think because of the other presentation.
I
But
like
yeah.
this paper because it has homomorphic encryption is. I like homomorphic encryption because we can perform some arithmetic operations after encrypting the data over it. And we can also use this for decentralized which current time.
Yeah. Homomorphic encryption has a fascinating promise. I agree. Daniel,
so I found this paper to be cool because they propose a new encoding method called SIBRA that jointly uses behavioral and neural data to produce native embeddings. And they actually have some experiments where they combine both spiking data and calcium data. And they show that the embeddings produced are similar across modalities. They also have a multi-model approach as well, which I found was really interesting.
Yeah, thank you. And this is the last one, right? So now you're gonna learn how arbitrary are all the prize giving and the competitions. Everyone had a chance to vote on their favorite paper and papers.
Yeah.
And
We had 23 votes.
we had 23 votes. This is actually like, this is a real life demonstration of how prizes are given and won. Just a few voters vote, and this is what happens. Then if you didn't vote, you didn't win the vote for your paper. That's my first rule. Yeah. But okay, bronze.
Bronze.
Where?
There are several people.
So Armenia got the third place, Armenia's paper, and Sudan's paper got the third place as well in the same category. Good. Oh, okay, Isabel didn't get the third place, but who got no one.
I asked the slide like an hour ago.
And somebody already voted. Okay.
They just voted on my.
They used the link to read the paper.
We all had to vote on the papers. We
I had
couldn't
a
vote on the presentations. Yeah.
2 hours.
You're oversharing. Silver. So who made the silver? Brad's paper made silver. That's great. And how many votes do you know?
6.
6 votes.
And for bronze,
Okay, you get an extra cake slice,
Yay.
maybe, if you can fight for it.
Yay.
Oh, the popular paper actually made it quite on the papers about popular topics. Yeah, hi, Marina. I will eat your piece of cake, Marina, for you. Okay, learnable latent embeddings. Good. When did you add the paper from? Like Daniel, 2 days ago. 2 days ago, yeah. So that's another strategy. Add papers early. And who made it to blog? Okay. Oh, I think people just, yeah.
Sergey can't add, but.
Maybe I read the, like, that's another, way to win, just push your paper up. Okay, and say, organizers won the competition. That's this is something. But in order for you to participate in the dynamics of how the voting is happened, Ksenia will tell you the story. So, okay, next slide, right?
No, just let's show some slides. That's the story of voting. So, yeah, Sergey, I, and Mrinal voted.
3 people voted.
Yeah.
And we were like yesterday night, it's like no one is doing it. What's gonna happen tomorrow? Like no one is voting. Should I like write emails to their parents? I don't know.
And then after Sergey's message, next slide.
Oh, did I miss it? No. Some more people voted, but still, it's like, and then Transformers. So who's gonna win? Who's gonna win?
Oh, the race.
Yeah, the race. And now the situation changes. Ooh. Oh. That's the anthropods.
Johnny Depp is really clutching up.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the final slide.
Oh, this is the final slide. Now we have, okay. What? Well, but there is one single winner. Why do you?
Yeah, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you won the race. Your paper is the call.
No, the idea was that we will have more than at least two papers.
So what is the suggestion, because besides getting to the cake, shall we read those papers as such as already admitted he didn't read it, and maybe we can read them next year at the show the MLBBQ and discuss at least the winners, silver, gold, and bronze. Oh, now I see why she made it. So we have to read more papers.
Yeah, let's have one MLBBQ for 3 of these papers.
But maybe we can put related papers. Oh, 20 minutes, like let's make it blitz, kind of like 20 minutes, 20 minutes, 20 minutes. But reshuffle them, so gold, silver, bronze in one, another gold, silver, bronze in another. They're not related. Maybe we can put octopus and anthropods together. They all, like for example. Okay, now the cake. Whoever can cut the cake, please cut the cake in slices enough for so many people. According to this proportion, yes. But maybe just even slices. Yeah, how many people suggest?
Like 15.
15.
So we can do 16.
Yeah, we can do 16. Let's try. Do you want to do it? Are you a shark? Who's a samurai?
I can do it.
Oh, okay.
Pictures.
For people online, thank you. Happy New Year. See you next year. Merry Christmas and Hanukkah and everything. And yeah, Marina, I'll buy yourself a cake and Whole Foods on the
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks a lot, guys. Enjoy. Bye bye.
See you in slide.
Is it cake? It's a cake.
Well, let's get some cake, like the after titles, like after what is it called? After credits.
Have to say it again. And we'll leave the floor. Whoa, it's like exponential stuff. Yeah, it's almost as if there's mathematics involved.
Well, the year is not over for the team. We still keep working and everything. It's just for the recordings. We don't think about anything anymore. And we are recording right now, so that's okay. I want to see how Armina does it. It's like we need to document the.
We take slicing during.
Very hard to see. No,
If the perfect is of yeah, there we go.
Yes. Oh, it's gonna be 16?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's more than enough then.
It makes sense.
Okay, can you?
You gotta do the fisheye, or you do the 0.5 one?
Oh, no, I didn't do the 0.5. Then another process, three more. Right this.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's pretty good. Yeah, it's good. I will cut my belly out and then.
So childlike.
The tiny cake for 16 people.
Yeah, this Armina. We're not waiting.
No, I know why you're there. Front row. Front row.
I was told to stand. I was told.
No, go ahead. That's fine. You don't have to see it. Or we're gonna see it and discuss
The cake is cut.
what happened during the year.
Yeah. I mean, I thought there was gonna be a debate on the paper.
Yeah, how can we debate? What could be debate? I blame the organizers.
See.
Why did this Anthropods paper win? Why did we choose it? Because it's Johnny Depp really, or like we want transcendence?
A big picture of.
It was cool.
Oh, a slide with big picture.
Yeah.
Of the brain or something brain like wins always, right?
Probably people like the idea to repair themselves.
No one wants to do morning exercise and go to gym. Yeah, it's easier if some bots repairs.
I think if there were.
Everyone wants a slice, right?
Yes, everyone but me.
Everyone but you?
What?
I ate the whole cake. I told you we bought two. But
Yeah, it's not time for your second whole cake? Like a little.
it's always time, but only if anything left. But
One slice.
no, that's fine. Hillary bought me a salad to shame me, and it's this is not a joke. It's in the refrigerator.
You're being shamed by salad?
Yeah, like not a cake but salad. So yeah, thanks for doing that. Maybe we should do the cake a little more, right? Pizza one day, cake another day, or something. But we need occasions. We need job offers or other good news. Yeah, Mateo, that was on you.
Nah, no, I understand.
Yeah, when you get a job offer, we'll have a cake.
I'll come back.
Oh, yeah.
Mateo got a job there.
Mateo got a job.
For the first time ever. I'm just kidding.
That'll wake you up, hopefully. No, we need to throw let's imitate. So let Armina and Mateo imitate the class. So because I want to see the other perspective. Because I was doing it. Can you have more paper plates? Oh. Do we have more paper plates? Did you get paper plates from Hillary? And spoons? No spoons?
Well, we have some for not enough. We have not enough.
I might have one of my bed that
I like to be. I like to go to college.
God, I just lacking like that.
I have a big thing. I'm building what.
I mean, the structural integrity is just falling apart.
Maybe I'll take one more. One more. So it takes.
Kaylin, where did they? Slam your face into the cake, guys.
Theoretically, if you cake to everyone else, so three of us can just get it from this.
Do you want to do that? Yeah, we can do that. That sounds funny enough. But does everyone already have a slice? Yeah.
Who doesn't have cake?
I don't care.
You don't have cake.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about that issue.
There you are. Okay. You can have it and eat it too.
Anybody else need cake?
I guess we have extra slices. But,
Was that not 16?
it was.
Maybe
It's just not everyone wanted to set it.
Not where it's helping them. It's not your authority issue. It's the workshop version of.
I mean,
it.
it's
Maybe it will here. Let's switch this up.
Okay.
So.
This is gonna work.
Looks like people like, white more than others.
I feel like out of these.
So more plates and a little bit of spoons that like if we.
Oh, I know.
Would you like
Okay.
a slice?
Yeah, we have more.
How come? Sajjad counted 15 people and there were 16 pieces.
So John is like really bad at counting, I guess. What? No, I'm sick.
That went on the record, by the way. I'm recording this.
Oh, I'll make sure that that's up there.
Yeah, it goes on YouTube today. Premiere.
I can't wait to be a celebrity. There's a lot of people here.
Okay, I think that was enough. Thanks, everyone. Happy New Year.
You know what we should have?
Mhm.
Another. Like